think you got it?
Yeah, I think it says we're live.
Oh boy, can they hear us?
We already got somebody here and a like. Heyo.
Hello.
Oh my gosh, this one's already going exponentially better than usual. This is amazing.
If they can hear us, we are solid.
Can you hear? I mean, I see the green dots below,
Oh,
so
nice.
I think they can. I think it's going well.
Hello, ding ding ding.
Oh, we got another. T-Von
Good morning.
and Vikya Pradis.
Ooh, you guys. Can I put an earring on?
Yeah.
I want to give you a little cuteness.
I love it. Do it. I'm just gonna stay here. That's okay. This is what you get. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say we literally just woke up like a half an hour.
Yeah, this is not a common thing for us, but we woke up at, I would say, a little over half an hour ago.
Maybe.
It was like 11 and change. And that is not something that we do very often.
No, we had a very long day and a late night.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, well, I mean,
It was a good night.
complete transparency though. Last night I was doing the refinery
Right.
and then we ended up on a call after that for another little bit. So it definitely went late. By the time we even sat down to eat, it was already 11:30.
Right.
Like to have our drinks, we started having our drinks at like 11 o'clock. It was kind of crazy.
Yeah. It makes me wonder, like, how did we do the show and wake up so early in the morning?
I don't
Did we
know.
not sleep for 3 years?
I mean, that is a large part of it. There were times.
Sometimes I don't know. But we needed sleep last night. We got some. It was good.
I'll turn this up, make it a little brighter for us.
Oh, I like that. Oh, I forget that I'm reading the comments over here, but my
Yeah, but
line
the
is over
camera's
here on the
actually up here.
camera.
Oh, come on.
There's nothing like a really good morning coffee and a good coffee creamer.
Oh, I thought you were going to say a good coffee poop.
Oh,
There's nothing like a good coffee poop.
There is not.
Like
Woo.
just smelling it. I'm like, all right. Yeah.
That's literally all he needs. He
Yeah.
smells the coffee and gets excited.
I have like a
He's in there.
sipper in the morning. I have a
It's
glass of water first thing
fascinating.
when I wake up, and then I have a sip of coffee. And before I even have a sip, sometimes I'll just smell it, and I'm like, I gotta go.
You too.
Yeah.
I'm jealous. It takes me like 3 cups.
Hey, Megan.
Good
We're
morning.
doing well. We're doing really well. We were just talking about the fact that we slept in today for the first time, and I mean, I genuinely don't know the last time.
I don't know the last time we ever
We
slept.
slept till 11.
11? Who does that?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe a lot of people.
I mean,
We did it for a long time.
Oh yeah.
When we first met, so, doing a Broadway show, you're up super late, and we were kind of just talking about this, but
Yeah.
to kind of delve into that, we would you'd get out of the show at 11 o'clock,
Mhm.
and then the night began. So there wasn't,
Begins.
yeah. I mean, and that means like going out.
Yeah, it wasn't like
Like-
we were like sleep. Yeah, but we wouldn't go to bed till the sun was up.
Yeah.
So then-
Most days I'd never got in bed before 3 or 4.
Oh yeah.
Like that was not a thing.
Oh, to be young and wild and free. Just kidding.
I was
we still are.
I don't even know.
We just have girls that wake up at 8 a.m. and
Yeah.
start screaming at us to eat. So
Yeah. Our schedule is not that
it's shifted
drastically
just-
different.
Yeah.
Well, considering like to be young and wild and free, what we're actually saying is we were going to bed at 2 and then just getting up at 9 and being like, it's fine, or 8. And then
Right,
Missy
right.
decided suddenly that she was going to start waking up at 7:30 on the dot. You know what?
Mm.
Before we go too much further, cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Let's play our live game show game. What's everybody drinking? Ours is coffee.
Promise, just coffee.
Oh,
Mm.
oh man. How's everybody else doing? Yeah, let it be known in the comments. Y'all end up always having like a great conversation over here, like a side conversation. We go back through and read it
Yeah,
at
it's
the
really
end.
fun.
And
Water up. You know what? Cole got me this amazing, beautiful journal from a company that,
oh,
what is
man.
it called?
CGD.
CGD London, but it's a beautiful, beautiful journal. And it it's not really a journal. It's like a daily planner, but It's really beautiful. And inside,
Ooh.
it makes you,
Ah.
it like forces you to be thoughtful about your day. So like things you have to do, any lists you have to make,
Yeah.
expenses.
I don't know if
like,
this is going to be blown out or not.
I think
but
it's blown out.
I think so.
But either way, what I loved about it.
No, you can't see anything.
You can't see it, but it makes you check off how many glasses of water you've had. And you guys, there are 6 boxes. Apparently, I'm supposed to drink 6 glasses of water a day. I'm going to live in the bathroom. I only made it to 2.5 yesterday.
And you still felt like so overly hydrated.
I did.
She was so proud of herself.
I was
It was
like,
really
I've never-
adorable.
I think I also cheated because I was drinking like 6-ounce glasses of water, but I'm going to work my way up.
Yeah.
I think I have to stretch my bladder, really, is what's going to happen.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. That's what makes that's the only thing that makes road trips or made road trips early on hard with us. And considering we spend our lives on the road, whenever.
I've learned to hold it though, much better than I.
Yeah. Oh, it's incredible. She can go for hours now, like 2. There it is.
I mean, I'm lucky if I can make it through a movie. Like, did you guys, okay, put it in the comments. Can you make it through a movie without going to the bathroom? Because I 99% of the time cannot. And I know that that's hard for you.
Yes.
Are you putting it in? Make sure you put Colt. Because you guys can?
Yes, Pachette. All right. One on my side. Thank you.
I can't. And I make sure I go like right before.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
We find
Well,
our
she
seats,
doesn't.
we sit down and I go, okay, I'll be
And
right
she
back.
goes, okay, I'll see you. Because she does not do the trailers. Like, she's not real big on trailers.
The previews. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. The previews. I apologize. See, this is what happens. This is the difference between like a buggy and a shopping cart and a carriage. These are the things. These are the things that make a marriage last. Learning each other's vocabulary.
Oh my gosh. Well, cool.
Do you want to jump into it?
Yeah.
Speaking
I guess
of
we should,
what things make a marriage last or a relationship last,
we wanted to talk about
trust.
Trust.
It's icky. Just immediately, you're like, oh, I wonder.
Yeah.
Wonder where this is going to go.
And actually, we were talking about it in regards to all different kinds of relationships.
Yeah.
Originally.
And yeah.
At first, I don't know if I can just take the lead.
Yeah, please do.
At first, I was like, I don't know if I want to talk about that today. I have to think on like if it, because we don't really like to do anything that if we don't truly resonate or have like something right away.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know if I have anything because trust. Anytime I've lost someone's trust or like been not trustworthy, it's been to someone that I didn't truly love. And he was like, that's what we're talking about. And I was like, oh.
My plan was to get to that amazing statement at the end of the conversation.
Oh, so sorry.
But we should jump off from there because it is the thing that's going to boil.
I think maybe we can circle back to it.
Yeah.
But I wanted to throw it out there first because I was like, that's kind of juicy.
Yeah. I think it's incredible. So where I had originally planned to start was, and this is funny because we were talking about this yesterday and it's been on my mind so much. We've had some big conversations about this lately, and then I was going to bring it up in the refinery when we recorded that, and ended up we had a totally different talk, and it was
great.
Awesome. Tomorrow's episode, y'all.
It's going to be really cute.
Check it out. I'm so excited. Okay. But anyway, we were talking about trust and this concept of, because trust is such a big issue, obviously, to tackle. And we wanted to talk about, and we're like, so how do we take that and put it into like the, not constraints, but within the kind of relativity of part of life. How do we parse out what we need to talk about in trust? And the thing that we came to that we really need to talk about is, how do you respond? How do you overcome it once someone's broken your trust? Like, have you ever had your trust broken, and how did you overcome that? Mm-hmm. And also on the other side of that, do you hold yourself to that same standard? Because that of someone else's trust. I know that I have had my trust broken, my heart broken, and still ended up doing the same exact things to other people.
And again, I don't think I said that so nonchalantly, like, and when I've broken someone's trust, I obviously wasn't trying to go out in the world and be a horrible person and hurt people and break people's trust. But occasionally it happens,
Yeah.
We're human. You make mistakes, or maybe you don't make mistakes, but you go about things in not a very nice way.
Feeling make mistakes is fine. That's
Yeah.
like sometimes
you make mistakes.
and also mistakes are relative, and this is where we get into the whole concept of trust and that relativity of somebody can put their trust in you that you're going to do certain things. And I think a lot of times we put our trust in other people. I trust that they're going to do this, but trust is also kind of a two-way street.
It is.
And so there, I'm sure in your life and relationship and love that you've had, and I should only really speak for myself here, but I definitely know there have been times where I have broken someone's trust completely unintentionally because I was never let in on the fact that I was supposed to be doing a certain thing. Like that's when you misunderstand a relationship,
right?
When you oversell their part of it, when you overimagine it, as it were.
Yeah. I think though, trust and I think it's easy to have trust when everything is going swell in a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
at least, especially romantic relationships. Right. And then when one person isn't pulling their weight, it causes this imbalance, I don't want to say pulling their weight, but like when you're not growing at the same rate or you're not contributing, you're not equally trying, it leads to this imbalance, and then there's anger, and then there's like all this pent up resentment and things like that. And so then if someone makes one wrong move, it's sort of like when we talk about cheating sometimes. Yes, one person cheats technically one person does the emotional or physical act of cheating, but you're both responsible for it. And please challenge me on this, but you're both responsible for that. And I've done a lot of research on this. We've both done a lot of research on this. And I think
you've thought about it a lot.
Yeah.
The research is.
Yeah, I've thought about it a lot. I've thought about it for all the times that it applies to me. I know you have too. And no, it never is comfortable. And yes, we can put the blame all on one party, but like it really is a two-way street. And so I think trust is the same way in that. Like there's always like, I don't know, an imbalance that happens sometimes before trust. You can't say like, I don't know, let's just make up like some random situation. I trust you to love me forever. And then every night, this is horrible, but I come home and I, hit you in the face with a shoe.
Good.
And every night I come home and I hit you in the face with the shoe, and you're like, stop hitting me with the shoe, I'm going crazy. And I'm like, nope, you love me though, right? And then you go off and cheat on me or leave me. And I go, but I trusted you to stay. Well, no, this is not a good example.
It's not a great example, just because I think it went into a lot of different realms.
Different things. That was bad.
No, I understand though. I think what you're saying is that no matter what, leading towards cheating, leading towards that. I mean, because that at the end of the day, that's when someone is talking about in a relationship, well, they broke my trust. The majority of the time, what they're talking about has to do with cheating. Right. Or has to do with them emotionally cheating or going back on their word or not being that person that they said they were. And I think that with regards to the just amazing, as long as you are in a relationship with somebody, you are responsible for that. Now, you're not the one who makes them make that choice. You can't do that. But what I think we're talking about is you see there are issues before cheating. There is no entirely happy, truly entirely happy relationship that I've ever come across that then somebody just was like, man, I'm so fulfilled. I feel enriched. I feel everything's great. Whoops, I slipped and I just had sex with somebody. Like, oh my God, what a slippery floor.
That doesn't happen. And honestly, it may feel like that just happened out of nowhere to you, but maybe again, that is the lack of self-awareness. And I'm not, I know it's hurtful it sounds like I wouldn't say it's hurtful. I think compassion when I'm saying this, but if you really maybe look at the situation again, there maybe are signs and clues that maybe you weren't tuned into yourself.
I think for me in these situations, I always go back to, okay, how does this apply to me?
Mhm.
Because again, what we're sharing is our experience individually and together. And hopefully that helps you find the love you deserve. So based on between the research and the just thinking about the application to our lives, those, I know for me, the only times that, or the only like major time that I was in a relationship where some like huge trust was broken, it actually wasn't even cheating. I had been dating someone for a long time. We broke up, and I literally said to them, please don't sleep with this person that I'm very, very close to, one of my best friends at the time. I remember where we were in New York, where in Chelsea. I remember the exact street where I said it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny because her first reaction was, you can't ask me that.
Yeah.
And every bit of me was going, I know what that means. I know that I've seen these signs this whole time.
Uh-huh.
I know that this is one of the driving forces of what's breaking us up, because she, like, that's her telling me, like, she said it was about this thing, but it was so many other things were involved in that. And they had been going on for so long. And then when it actually happened and I found out that they were in fact together, I was still devastated. I was still so upset. And granted, I came down from it pretty quickly, but it wasn't as if it came out of left field entirely. I had already been examining that. How many times do you have we heard about our friends or ourselves or our families, whatever, that the first thing they'll say is, I didn't see it coming at all. And then if you poke and prod a little bit in a loving way, in a kind way, then you tend to find that, well, no, I had my suspicions about this, or, I felt this way, and like I was worried about this. We were constantly
something, or
there are usually things in the background. There's usually something that's going on. And so I think with the general idea of trust, what we want to push everybody to do is to go with that gut instinct, as we talked about in the refinery. It was 17 and a half minutes. I got to remember that. Put a card in. Go with your gut instinct. You, to an extent, at least explore your gut instinct, right? Because maybe there's something there. We had a big talk the other night, and it wasn't about cheating, but it was about trust.
Yes.
And even 11 years in, it was really important that we discussed the exact, like really explored what that was and why, because both of us still had unanswered questions about something that happened, 4 years into our relationship, 5 years in, that we needed to explore that time. So please don't think that just because you've been together with someone for a long time, or
that these things won't come up,
or that just because you've passed them, that there's nothing left to explore. Because I'll be honest, that surprised me that we needed to explore it like that. But that
it did surprise me.
Again, this is
it
like,
didn't surprise
it's the
me.
first thing I
it was
say,
something that you and I have needed to and wanted to discuss for a long time, but we were nervous to pull the curtain back and really look at it. But I think we are at such a place in our relationship now that no matter what, it was going to be okay.
Yeah.
But then it was really beautiful to see that really we didn't have anything to be afraid of. And the truth of the matter was, like, the truth
was so much less scary than what we had made it out. Just saying.
But I'll say this, and this sort of circles back to trust, but it's also, again, maybe like a cheating thing. You guys talked about it in Bad Boys, though, too.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes when we don't have the self-awareness and we don't have, I guess, the strength to speak our truth, we do stupid things to people, like cheat on them. Instead of just saying, hey, I care about you. I cared about you. I don't want to hurt you, but I'm not into this anymore. Peace. Like,
that strength is so hard,
because then you would be hurt, but you, I guess, maybe wouldn't have your trust broken. But at this, but then there's a fine line of, you said you loved me forever.
Well, so here's a super important thing. For one, and this is, I think, an important thing for y'all to hear, especially for us live to say. But I want to say, I'll love you forever.
Yeah.
Everything will happen. But we have talked about this ad nauseum and come to the realization that by saying that, it just cheapens every moment that you do choose each other.
Exactly. Because that means I no longer have to choose them.
Yeah.
And that's when
No, it's going to be forever.
But that's when those imbalances happen, because
you
rely on
lazy.
Yes.
It makes you lazy, y'all. When you say that, when you try to get into that comfort of, well, this is forever.
He's not going anywhere, so
yeah,
I can do whatever,
And obviously, I have no plans. I hope you don't either. I don't believe you're rolling out,
But I will tell you what, if all of a sudden, things shifted in an unexpected way, and I was being self-aware in an unhealthy way, I'd be like, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And you're like, this is just who I am now. I'd be like, okay, unexpected, thrown, but I can't stay. No matter how much I love you and the idea of, and remember what we were, if we're not that anymore and not choosing us anymore, I can't stay.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. We've talked, so these though are conversations that I think lead to true love. And true love not meaning the zing. True love not meaning blah, blah, blah. I don't sound like that.
Like Hotel Transylvania, because we're obsessed.
How many times in Part of Love have we brought up animated movies? Between The Refinery and Part of Love, we have talked about so many animated films, and I realize it almost every time now. I'm like, oh, this is like the 6th or 7th time that we've talked about a different animated film.
If you don't know what we're talking about with the zing and the...
But it's just that Hollywood thing of love at first sight, where we were totally sold on a lie of love at first sight. Lust at first sight, absolutely. All about it. I mean, come on, I get it. But love at first sight is impossible, because you can hope. You can have infatuation. You can have infatuation. There's so many other words, but we've now lumped love into that thing. And so with these same, I keep going back to that, hot pink Hollywood romance, this bright neon sign of, this is all you need. This is all you need. This is all you need. And once you find it, you don't have to do anything else, because you two just are right for each other.
Right.
I, 10 years ago, luckily was just right enough for you, and vice versa, for us to want to be together. But we are not the same two people we were 10 years ago, because we chose to grow, and we've grown together. If we end up growing apart, that's on us. That's on us. And that's on us. And also make sure that it's not, I think this is the thing about trust, and that I trust you implicitly in all of the senses of our phone. Like half the time she leaves with my phone, or is on my computer, or is on, what I mean? Like that kind of trust, the money that's in the bank accounts, those things, like we share all of that, because any of those useful secrets, like having those kind of secrets, the things that keep it spicy, where you're bringing something special, has nothing to do with what texts are on my phone, or who's texting me, or what emails are going on, or what websites I've been to, or any of that. Like, I
will say though, the relationships that I have been in where we're dealing with basic levels of trust, like don't read my texts, or, I'm not saying that I even want to read your text, but like
my texts are super boring. You don't even laugh at them.
To even have to worry about that, which I have been in pretty much in every relationship other than you. Life is too hard to be worrying about, like looking at my phone, or my computer's open, or like, I don't know, that stuff is.
If you're hiding that for any reason other than a gift or a surprise, then that's important. Yeah. Again, but those are those little things. So when we say be self-aware, it doesn't mean I am one with the universe and the universe is one with me. I have 3 eyebrow hairs right in the middle for my unibrow. Like, it's not that kind of self-awareness. I'm pretty sure there's at least 3. I can feel them growing. Yeah, you don't have 2 gigantic bushy eyebrows without having chopped a caterpillar in half. All right, this is just how this works. No, but those things, it's those things. It's the that means self-awareness. It's the how do I react to this and why? It's the why am I trying to hide these things? Now, that doesn't mean go show your bank account to your boyfriend after 2 weeks.
No.
Or give your
know,
girlfriend your phone on the first date and be like, just take it home. I'll see you hopefully on a second date. Like,
right.
Obviously there's so much more that goes into it. But once you're in a committed relationship, once you've made that decision that right now we're doing this, that should grow, but it should never grow to I'm so sorry.
Oh, sorry.
It should never grow to a place where you say it's to infinity and beyond forever. And that's it. Like, that delineating line, I feel like is a dangerous precipice that you fall off and just go, okay. And then from there, it's just stranger danger. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't, but I don't think that you at that point are holding yourself accountable anymore for that long-term, like for the short-term love that creates long-term love, that creates true love. Circle back to what I was actually trying to say.
Well, we play a dangerous game when we try to shove people into boxes that fit our, idea of the love that we want, right? So you might not be paying attention to the fact that, they get really weird on their phone or always, but nothing's going on. I must be crazy and I'm just going to ignore this because I want this to work so badly. I want this, sometimes even I have been guilty on so many occasions of wanting it to work out so badly that I ignore some major red flags, that I abandon myself just for the idea of wanting this to work so badly. And I promise you, like, that's just not how it works. Like, you can't shove someone in this box. And I talked about, and I'd love to talk about this on a different day just because it's such a larger idea, but when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Just believe them. They're showing you on purpose. Through their actions, through how they treat you, how they make you feel, that gut instinct that you get around them.
How you feel around them, I think.
It tells you something. If something doesn't feel right, don't ignore that, I don't know at what point we stopped really trusting ourselves, but I think it happens really young. We want so badly for things to work out, and so we just kind of abandon those feelings. So
now I think we've moved into the conversation about trust yourself.
Right? Nice.
So I think one of the hallmarks of this is I do this all the time. You're really good about trusting. You trust yourself with regards to other people.
Yes.
Maybe not with regards to your own self sometimes.
Yes.
And your perceptions, but with other people, you look at them and you're like, no, I'm not going to talk to you about this.
Yeah.
Or I am. And I think we all slip up with that. But how many times have you been in a conversation with a friend and been like, please don't say anything to anybody? And then they do, especially now. This is a big thing, I think, in the performing community, just because you're all so constantly around each other and everybody is in everybody's business. It's very like high school in certain ways, or more. It's literally like extended college, I kind of feel like.
Yeah.
And it could be just a very small thing of like, hey, I'm sorry, I was venting. If we could just keep this between us. And what should have happened, and it when you do it, if you feel that in your gut, you're like, oh, I should have rewound this whole thing and just it's okay to say less. It's okay to trust yourself. And also, if you trust yourself about someone and you go, I think this is a good person to share this with, or to share this piece of myself with, whether a relationship or a friendship or otherwise, and they break that, then it just helps you grow and reevaluate. Okay, why did I feel okay about that? Was I actually overselling it? because that's what has happened to me time and time again. I've
Right.
oversold my trust because maybe deep down, like 99 levels down, I'm like, don't do this. Like,
Well, I'll say from, and this actually
but I
is
didn't want to go
just
that deep.
from our past experience.
Okay.
I mean, our past experiences shape us all. Our childhood shapes us, so many things affect us. And for whatever the reason is, like, and just like, honestly, your spirit shapes you. You go into situations where you want them to be good instinctually, like from a very deep down rooted place. You're like, oh, I don't know if I trust you, but you want them to be good. And sometimes you test somebody. So you're like, I'll throw you this bone and see what you do with it. And you're like, damn it. Why did you prove me wrong? I wanted it to be good. And I sometimes go at it from a protection standpoint where you are guilty until proven innocent.
Yes.
And that's not a good quality of mine. Like I'm not
But
saying that's a good quality, but I do that. It's like a self-preservation thing.
Mhm.
That I've sort of done, since I was a kid. And I'm trying to fight that because I realize I do have to be more open in certain ways. But like, I think we all are different about how we go into trust and trusting ourselves and our instincts.
But trust yourself, and but these go together so well. Trusting your gut instinct, and if somebody shows you who they are, believe them. Mm-hmm. Right? Those two things together, you go, okay, so they've now shown me who they are. I may want also, okay, this brings me to a different thing, but it's the same thing. You can want someone to be totally different than they are. You can hope that, and they can still not be what you want them to be.
Yeah.
Whether it's a relationship or a friendship or a perceived whatever, it doesn't work out just because you want it and wish it. And a lot of times when we want it and wish it and it's not there, we'll give up pieces of ourselves hoping that it's like your two balls of clay.
Yes.
And you'll come in and essentially you're even Stevens because you don't know one way or the other. But then the more of yourself that you give up, your little ball is just going down and down and down, and their power, as it were, is getting bigger and bigger because you're just going, no, it's okay. It's okay. I'll take this piece of me and I'll put this into you. Mm-hmm. But I think we need to trust that we are enough. Like, you don't need to take anybody else's and you don't need to give yours away. You can just grow together.
Absolutely.
Did that make sense?
No, I think it did make sense. I wish I had a notebook because I wanted to put a pin in a couple different things. But I think that there also is a point where you go, we abandon ourselves so much, and we say, no, I think I can fix this. I think I can fix them. Or I think I can fix this. And I think that's where you sometimes lose your ball of clay. Your clay gets smaller. Your self-worth, your energy gets smaller, and
because you want them to be right. So you're trying to mold them. I guess that's what I was saying, is you're trying to mold them into your thing. But since they're not that, you're having to cover up what they aren't to you with yourself, with your energy. And it just drains you.
So I think I'm very much an empath, right? And it doesn't mean that I feel for everybody, but there are some people that are super empathic.
Sympathy versus empathy.
Right. And there are some people that are empath vampires, as it were. And I encounter a lot of like these vampires just naturally. I think you do too sometimes, but you're better at like separating and I'm not. And like a couple of years ago, I just had this friend who I cared about very much, but she was draining me, and I would leave feeling like, our situations together, just feeling dead and drained. And I should have just trusted this instinct of being like, no, I need to separate, but I couldn't. I felt like guilty because I didn't have enough self-awareness to be like, no, this is actually a bad thing. Because on the surface, I was like, I don't understand why this is happening. I'm feeling so drained and not good about myself and taken. But yet I'm doing a good thing by being there for this person, and I can help them. I should be able to help them. And meanwhile, my ball of clay was like, tiny. Yeah. And this person was just living off of my supply. And again, I should have just trusted myself and everyone around me that that, you know, it's okay. Not everyone is meant to be together.
Yeah.
I don't know where I got off on that tangent.
No,
but again, I
I
should
mean,
have just trusted
because-
that feeling right away.
but it's the
something's
same-
off here.
Oh, I thought you meant with the. I'm so.
No, with myself.
I'm so damaged with regards to like. I'm
Can
so.
you hear us?
Yeah. Is it still going?
Oh
Is
my
it? Did I
gosh.
sign onto the wrong account? Yeah. It's. I think I totally understand and agree with what you're saying. That has to do though. We so many times we attribute these issues of trust or of trusting ourselves or giving our energy away. We only associate that with relationships. And how we think of the word relationships is usually one person, sex, like essentially, like at the very base instinct of it. But the truth is, it can be someone that's a working relationship or a friendship or family. And you have to figure out how to trust yourself and your instincts and protect yourself in those situations.
Yeah.
I watched that happen and was like, I get it. And then we get into the empath versus, I don't know if sympath is like an empathy versus sympathy.
Mm-hmm.
You can empathize with someone in their situation and also not take on all of that pain by overly sympathizing. You would overly try and fix that problem.
Right.
But the problem was any other number of problems would arise constantly.
Right.
So there was no fixing of from the start. There was never a fix. That wasn't what was wanted. It was just somebody to listen and to onto.
Right.
And so just be careful of those relationships, because a lot of us will get into those things. I think if you're here on Part of Love in any capacity, and looking for the love you deserve, you are going to be vulnerable to those situations because you are actively looking for that love. You're actively hoping maybe this person, maybe this person, maybe this. Mm-hmm. But that is why it always comes back to self-awareness for us, because the more self-love and self-awareness, the more that we can get on that train of understanding ourselves and why we do things, the more we're protected from being in those situations. I know that half of the people, not even half, I would say, if I were to quantify it, that it was probably 98 to 99% of the relationships that I've had in that kind of vein, mm-hmm. where I felt like either I was being taken advantage of, or there was there was nothing.
Right. It was not the two-way street.
Yeah. And it doesn't always even have to be a two-way street. Sometimes it's just this stagnation of existence. And now those relationships don't exist for me. I don't have relationships that aren't useful in some way to the parties involved. There are some people that are in my life that I give more than I receive, but there's something that I receive from that. But
that comes with a lot of life experience, maturity, self-awareness.
A lot of work goes into that.
You know, it took what you do. It just gives me a little extra strength to be like, I choose me over this situation. You know, I don't need to do this, or I don't need to be a part of this,
and that's okay.
That's okay.
I just remember so many times, and specifically I'm thinking about when I first got to New York or college as well. But there were so many times where I would exist in situations with people that I didn't like. I liked the idea of them though. And this is again, something else for us to tackle down the road. The idea of someone that you have is not who they are, which again leads us back to whoever they like. If they're showing you who they are, just believe them.
Yeah.
Not telling. This is not about them telling you who they are. There's the very distinct usage of vocabulary here.
Right.
When someone shows you through their actions who they are, believe them. That's okay. And then trust that. And I just, man, when I first got to New York, I was living in this place with some people that I went to college with up in Harlem. And I just remember that whole existence, though, what a party. And what a very hard time, because by the end of it, I had $11 a day left in my bank account before I started a job that was like 4 to 6 weeks away. And I was like, okay, I got to do this on $11. It was actually cheaper for me to buy socks and underwear from the corner bodega or from the stalls outside across the street from this corner bodega than it was to wash clothes. It was kind of hilarious. But the point is that place, I remember those conversations that didn't happen. It was mostly just us sitting around, getting high and watching Planet Earth on repeat, like, which is fine. I guess that's what I needed at the time. But how much more could I have grown in that time? Because I remember where I was and I remember that neighborhood, and it was so much fun. And I, like, in my mind, the few times that I like went out and explored and just like hung out and like sat around and people watched, and I love people watching. And had I done that more than just sitting around smoking weed and watching Planet Earth, like, with these people that offered nothing.
But I think we all are in situations, not we all, but I know.
No offense if one of those people is watching this. We're all just stoners. And
and you go through different times in your life. I remember I dated someone for a very long time and had a similar existence, and I was like, why are we doing this? And he was, because like, this is what we do. And I was like, but I don't like this. But I was like, but I want to be with him, and I want to mold myself so he is so we become this thing. Like, I want the idea of us so badly. So then I was like, okay, I'll sit on the couch and smoke weed and watch Planet Earth. That was the thing to do and
Family Guy.
Which
is not knocking Family Guy
Ali
or
G.
weed. Like, do what you need to do.
But I knew deep down, I was like, you don't want to be doing this. You want to go, you're in New York City. You want to go take dance class and then go to the club afterwards. Like, what are you doing?
You wanted to, that's the thing though. You wanted to do other things. And what I love is that when we got together, there were so many things that I had programmed into myself from that kind of thing of being like, well, I kind of just want to sit around and do this. And she was like, okay, I don't want to do that. That's okay. Like, you can go do that, but you can go home and do that. Like, in our early dating, I remember Family Guy was one of those things. We were sitting there one night and I was like, do you ever watch Family? This was the first conversation. I was like, do you ever watch Family Guy? And you were like, no. I mean, I used to. I think it's stupid. And I think you were kind of going the opposite way, that you were like, I'm not watching that. I'm not into just sitting around. I'm not going to
fall into this.
She literally told me the story she just told you that night. She was like, when I dated this person, that was all we did. And that's not something that interests me. So if you want to do it, that's fine. But go home and do it by yourself. And I remember though, that was such
were you like
launching like this? That's the crazy thing. It was an old timey boxing war.
And so when we met, I was so like open and looking for love, but I also knew how to fucking.
Well, you liked yourself.
I did
a lot. And
I did, because I had thought to be the most me I could be at that time. I had been in so many shitty relationships where people, I felt like, were trying to just steal my identity or tell me the kind of person I should be or the kind of woman I should be. And at that point when we met, I was like, hell no. Like, I was just like,
I always felt there was also something to you. You didn't let me get away with just existing with you. You were like, no, you can either be who I want for me.
Right.
And hopefully you also want that and you would ask the same of me. Like, is this okay? It was a constant thing. We always joke about the, New Jersey Housewives. And that was one of those things. Like, I early on was like, can we not? And there's little things like those are those compromises that people, I think, mean a lot of times when they say that a relationship is compromise. A relationship is, I don't see it as compromise. I don't see that as the overwhelming thing by any means. But there are those little things that you go, what's more important to me right now? And also, that moment of you saying that about Family Guy and sitting around being stoned and watching Family Guy, I could have just been like, okay, whatever, just to make her happy, I won't do this. But what it did was there was something else that happened where I went, do I actually want to sit around and just like smoke and watch Family Guy? Like, is this what I want to do all day? And I remember we had a conversation about just New York in general. And that was when, again, she literally had the talk she had with you guys with me. And I was so taken aback by the passion and the love that you had for the city. And I hated New York until you and I got together and you started to open my eyes to so many things. And we would go to brunch and we would do these things and you would take me on these walks and introduced me to so many other places that make New York so special. And it wasn't the Statue of Liberty and it wasn't the things that it was the frying pan, taking Maya as a little smoosh ball, literally this big. And like being in those apartments, it was everything. And it taught us so much about ourselves, but it was trusting ourselves and drawing a genuine line in the sand and saying no further with this and less. Like, I'm happy to do it by myself.
Yeah.
And that has to be the most true thing.
Yeah.
And then if that person that you hope, again, wants to join you on that journey does, that's awesome.
Well, that I think was the really cool thing about the space I was in when we met is, and it was a little different for you. You were still healing and going a different journey. But like I said, I felt like I had been through a war of relationships. And I got to this point where I said, I would rather be alone with Missy. Get a dog if you're lonely. There are lots of beautiful dogs that need to be adopted. I would rather be alone with the little schmoosh of my life than waste time in my life, which is so valuable, like with someone that, is not right for me. Yeah. Not that they're not worth it. They're just not right. Sometimes it's, like, why would I keep trying to smoosh people into my box if they don't fit? Yeah. Like, it's just not, that's probably a,
no. I know what you're saying. I think you're leading it to a great close that will lead into another video, probably long form video about, this is a great saying, but it doesn't mean anything unless you kind of like really break it down to its truth, which is you can be alone and not be lonely.
Yeah.
And you can be surrounded by people or with somebody and still feel horribly alone. Like,
that's a great quote that you, I put it on our Instagram a couple months ago.
Yeah. And also it just came up again today in Daily Stoic.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
I love that.
And just remembering that self, you have to come first in that way.
Yeah.
And trust yourself, trust your instincts, covering all of these things that we've covered. We have about 10 minutes left. I want to go to the comments.
Yeah.
Oh shit, Michelle's here. Hey, Michelle.
If
all right.
You want some fitness tips, go follow.
Go check out Michelle
West. She's killing it.
She's got an amazing YouTube channel. Okay. Shy Hell T Fachet. I think Megan had to step out. I think I saw at some point. Courtney Kennedy. Hello. Claire. Oh shit. Hey everybody. I don't know who's still here right now, but if you're watching this later, we just wanted to go through and say hi. Megan said, I used to drink so much pop and juice. I drank so much water when I was in the hospital with a blood clot 3 years ago. Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Well, I'm glad that you're okay.
Yes.
Oh, how I miss you all. Christy. Jojo Jam? Jojo Gem.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Delaney.
Missed
you too.
Yes.
I can't. It's impossible for me to get through the entire movie. Okay, so if you're just popping in here, we asked earlier, do you guys drink those 8 glasses of water a day? Because I got Ange a little daily planner. And it has
to be fair, it has 6 boxes that I'm supposed to check off to say that I drink all my water. I was like, 6 glasses of water?
She doesn't drink a lot of
live
water.
In the bathroom.
Yeah.
I don't. That's one of my worst qualities.
And so that led us to Ange asking a question. Can you make it through an entire movie, like average length, like 2 hours,
without going to the bathroom?
without going to the bathroom?
Because I certainly cannot.
Yeah, she will miss the previews or trailers.
No, I have to get up
Because
in the middle
yeah.
of it usually.
And, I'm saying you go.
Oh, I go
as soon as the trailers
Yeah.
start for a movie. She goes to the bathroom, and still halfway through, a lot of times she's like, can't do it. Although being at home and movie theaters being closed has definitely helped with that, because we just pause and she goes to the bathroom, which is super helpful.
I do think I have a tiny bladder, but
I do too.
More about that later.
Christy, good news. My granddaughter will be born any day now. Very cool. Congratulations.
That's awesome.
Everybody's saying hello and congratulations. Yes, it happened for me once. Fichette says the trust was broken. It will never go back. Well, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, and that's okay. Again, someone shows you who they are.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a hard thing to rebuild that. And again, that's where the two-way street comes in, because it has to be them, for one, asking for that forgiveness, and you can forgive them and still not trust them again.
Right.
And I mean, that's such a situation to situation. Man. All right. Megan from Pink's Addiction says, my trust has been broken so much to the point where I have a wall up all the time. I can't trust anyone. Okay. So this is another big thing, though, is how do you get past that? Because I think both of us have had our trust broken a good amount of times. Yeah. I think a lot of people have those walls up, and then those walls end up leading to games, that to get around actually bringing those walls down. But I also think that I believe that you can have your walls up. Just make sure you can see through those walls.
Right. I mean, we all should have walls up to an extent. We should. They're called boundaries, right? And it's all about us learning healthy
self-preservation.
Boundaries. Exactly. So you can learn to trust people. If you are having a hard time trusting people, maybe pay attention to that. Maybe you're surrounding yourself with
untrustworthy people.
Exactly.
I'm guessing is what she was going to say.
Exactly, because you can feel that. And when you encounter someone that is trustworthy, something happens where you sort of build. I look at trust like a bridge sometimes.
Okay.
And so one person puts a block down, and then you go, well, maybe I'll put a block down. And you're not necessarily that close in the middle yet. But the more blocks you put down and reach each other, you're showing each other there's this camaraderie, this strength here, and I can trust you just a little bit more if they share of themselves, if they show you that they're trustworthy. But like, trust doesn't happen immediately. It's not like overnight. Again, it's like love doesn't happen immediately, Yeah. So it takes time.
So this metaphor leads me to a slightly different one, but I almost imagine it right now. I'm imagining it as, because at the end goal here is that eventually you have this bridge built entirely of trust. So that's the goal, right? That's what we want, and that's what we see. But the thing is, that bridge has to be maintained, because it is constant. First off, it's built of something very precarious, no matter how strongly you build it. And also, it has to be able to weather every storm that comes your way and every bit of growth from the world. And as the world that you're building together, this relationship continues to grow, and I'm going to stretch this metaphor to the fucking ends. As the world grows and the plates shift, that bridge is going to need more work, constantly more work, and more structure, and all of those things, because
it's like maintenance, like your house.
There's basic maintenance, but there's also just we talk about this, with Bride Life, with this new project. Well, I think we can talk about it next week.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We're excited.
So with that, though, one of the things that we were talking about is that this is a lifelong thing, and life is beautiful and love is beautiful, but life is also brutal. And what's the term you used? I think
brutal.
Stronger down the road. Mm-hmm. There are going to be, especially the longer you're together, the more life you're going to come across, and the more some of these things are going to be, especially if you really, and this is the true love, the more, there's not a point that comes where you go, well, now I know everything. Now we know everything about each other and everything about each other's pasts and futures. And and we're done. And the world is happily ever after. That is not a thing. It is every day creating the best possible choice by doing the maintenance, but also going, you know what? I see a storm coming way off in the distance that maybe it'll go that way, maybe it'll go this way, but you know what? We should do some work now. Let's do some work now to build this up and to keep this here and together, because I know it sounds so silly, but I think we live in a very transient lifestyle. My mom said that one of her neighbors said that if we could be compared to anything, it would have been like the Old Testament Jews, because we are constantly moving for 40 years just through the deserts, like just traveling and camping and living and loving. But
getting to the promised land someday.
Yeah, but there's such a beautiful thing to that, and to the fact that I will go. We have been apart so many times, but now we know after that first time that we were apart, we didn't look forward. We just went, oh shit, the bridge, hey, get me glue. I don't know how bridges are built.
Get me glue.
But now we look forward and go, hey, there's a potential project coming our way.
This is what we need to do to prep.
Let's prep for all of those possibilities of us not being able to talk all day, of us not being able to connect, of us, like, is there a time difference? How is this going to work? And you just think through those things. So we start prepping, and then sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes we're able to avert it by looking at all the things and going, you know what? It'd just be better for us, like what happened this summer,
right?
For you to just be there.
Yeah. And you again, you make these decisions together as a couple for what's best for you as a couple and individually, and for your family together. Yes. Let's go to the comments one more time.
Oh, so sorry.
The patio man is coming.
Oh yeah. My trust. I haven't, but Courtney says, I haven't had my trust broken, but my boyfriend has. His first girlfriend was cheating behind his back. When he found out he could trust her again, so he said he wanted some time apart from her. Well, good. I think that's a good decision. Good. Mom, it's very, Vicky Prattis is obviously mom. It's very difficult to rebuild trust after you've been deceived. Yes, absolutely. I think that's incredibly hard. But again, I stand behind, I think when we talk about walls being built, we talk about walls of stone and walls of mortar. And I think it's walls of very strong bulletproof glass that you can see through. So you can still be there and you can still, as you want to, step through. But it's about you. It's actually like some sci-fi kind of wall where you can step through and go, hey, this is a little piece of myself. I'm just going to put this out there and I can do this, but they don't have to get in. You choose that. You choose when to let people in. You choose how to build that bridge.
And it almost in turn makes you more aware of people, and you can see now their higher
two-way
self.
Mirror. I don't know how this
I don't know. There's something
goes.
There though.
All right. Megan said, oh yeah, happy late anniversary, guys. If I haven't said it before, you're so sweet. It was pretty cool. And love y'all. Watch the rest of this later. Bye.
Mish. Why was I just about to say that? Someone shows you who they are, believe them. Yes.
With the claps.
My favorite quote. So Maya Angelou, I believe, is the one that originally said that, and it's, taken so many different shapes over the years, but man, that is just the quote, right?
I just can't. I haven't heard a better one. I had a friend take my money, had a girlfriend on the side, and tried to emotionally abuse my 5-year-old. I ended that ASAP. His brother sent me a $5,000 check to apologize for his brother's actions. Wow. Oh, a fiance, not a friend. Wow, Christy.
Oof.
Oh my God. Well, good on you for ending that absolutely immediately. And wow. I don't even know where to start, just because we have to go soon. Wow, though.
Wow.
We'll talk about that another time. Trust is huge for me. And Courtney, bye. I know that you had to leave, but bye now. Trust is huge for me. I taught my daughters and daycare kids the importance of that. Yes. And that is so, so important to teach from a young age, is trusting yourself And if we can imbue our children with that, right? With knowing, hey, what you see and what you think, and it's right.
Yeah.
Like it's okay to at least explore it and to talk to somebody about it, because how many children don't have that inherent trust in themselves, and they worry again.
Well, I
and
think
do I
they
see this right?
inherently do trust themselves, and then it's people, it's parents, it's caregivers.
That's us as adults.
Yes, we tell them, no, don't trust yourself. I know you better. I know what's best for you. And truly, we're born with these instincts. It's like reconnecting with that. And in true John style.
After all of this, Claire, so I want to get to this first.
Oh.
Claire said, I've given up on trying to fix me and fix others, mend others, focusing on me, not selfishly, self-preservation. Yes, Claire.
Claire's
come on
killing it
now.
this year.
I mean, the amount of growth.
Yeah.
Claire. Yes.
That's it.
Christy, ditto on that. Ange, best friend who drained me, gave her money for a boob job, bought her a car, on and on. Oh my God, she would quit me so bad. It was such an unhealthy friendship. After 20 years, I stopped being afraid that I didn't buy her friendship and that she would walk away. I just stopped and she walked away. Best thing I did for myself. Good on you. Come on.
Absolutely.
That's incredible. And true John Severson fashion. If you could be any animal, what animal would you be? Everybody, please throw it in the comments. We have to run, but we will open the next live with this question.
Okay.
Why don't we just do that?
Think about it.
We'll all
It
keep
takes
John
time.
in suspense. I just can't. I fucking love you.
All right. Love you guys.
All right. Love y'all. I just got all choked up on coffee. I love you. I love you.
I love you. Love you. We'll see you soon.
All right. It's still going.
Oh.